on a river cruise.
All right, we are recording. Let's get rolling here. Welcome everybody to the Juice Plus Men's Zoom call. We do this call the second Thursday of every month, and several reasons why. You know, this business is 80% women in our company, and we want to bring more guys into this business. So we want to show a few things. We want to show men that this is a real deal. This is a viable option. You know, I'll never forget my first conference. Woody turned to me at the end of the conference. I wasn't even in the business set. He said, "What do you think, man? This is the real deal, huh?" And I said, "Absolutely. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when I join." And here we are a couple of years later, about 3 years later. So thanks, Woody. But we want to show guys this is the real deal. This is not, and this call is not just for men. There's a couple other men's calls out there that are only for guys. And I think it's important to include everybody because there's a lot of women in this business and they have men, partners, business partners, spouses, whatever it is, that sometimes are supportive, sometimes are not. But we also, you know, this is for guys who are thinking about a career change, maybe are skeptical about what we do. And I almost said skeptical about network marketing, but we are not your typical network marketing. We're going to get into that as well. But it's also for, like I said, for women in the business who have significant others that maybe don't believe, or who have potential team members that are guys and want to join this business. So this call is for everybody, and really excited tonight to have our senior VP, John Blair, joining us. John, thank you so much for being here. And I'm going to turn it over to my partner, Mike Murphy, and he's going to do a quick bio, and then we'll get rolling here. And this is going to be interview style tonight. We're going to be interviewing John on his feelings and thoughts on the first 25 years of Juice Plus, as well as looking forward to the next 25, which should be even more exciting than the first. So, Mike?
Thanks a lot, Craig. Just FYI, I have some unstable internet over here, so hopefully you guys can hear me okay.
Yeah,
John, thank you again for joining us. You're good? Okay, cool. John, thank you again for joining us. This is a real treat. If you don't know, John Blair is the Senior Vice President of the Juice Plus Company, which has been a part of for over 25 years. John was born and raised in Southern California. He was an undergraduate degree. He has an undergraduate degree from Dartmouth College and an MBA from UCLA. John spearheaded the decision by choice of Juice Plus as the lead product. He led the development of the manufacturing team that produces the entire Juice Plus product line. He also is the worldwide
Mike, can
research
you hear me?
effort that underscores the efficacy. Yeah.
So you're totally breaking up here. So I'm going to stop you right there, and I'm going to pull this up real quick, and I'm going to go ahead and read that if it's all right with you guys. Your recording was definitely breaking up a whole bunch there. So let's get rolling here.
You know, Craig, most of the people on the call have heard this before.
That's true.
And I can fill in the blanks on your first question. So
Okay.
Why don't we jump right into it? And Mike, good effort, man, but the bandwidth, we're creatures of technology. And hopefully...
We are, aren't we?
Hopefully, I'm in my Colorado office, and we have fiber optic here, so hopefully it'll hold up for the rest of the call.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's get rolling then. And Mike, let's just alternate questions. I'll go first. So John, first of all, we wanted you to go ahead and tell us where you're from and maybe give us just a brief history of your journey with this amazing company.
Thanks, Craig and Mike. And it's great to be on the call with all of you tonight. And I'm glad that a men's call has a couple of good-looking women. You know, don't Me Too hashtag me, but it really does add to the character of the call. And sure, came out of UCLA B School back in the early 70s and eventually got through Price Waterhouse and the turnaround of Yokohama Tire and a consulting business into mergers and acquisitions. And I met Jay and a couple of the other founders of NSA through that process, actually when they were going through the transition from the original fire protection product to the water filter product. And half of the partners wanted to go in the direction of keep the fire alarm business, and the other half wanted to go forward with water filters. And my job was to put a value on the company and find a partner to take out the other half. Now, I'm not going to tell you the whole story because it's the first chapter of my book on the story of Juice Plus, but it was a wild ride. And this tiny little company that was doing $4 million when I met him, I had sold for $300 million 18 months later to the First Boston Group, and we were closing the deal at Skadden Arps at 30 Rock in New York City. And I'll save the rest for the book. Anyway, the company at the last minute changed their mind. And it was not a really good day for me. I went home with nothing. But after 18 months of hard work with Jay and the others and having a blast and getting to know them personally and their character, it was one of the great experiences of my life. And we stayed in contact. I talked to Jay almost every day for the following year. And eventually, he asked me, the company was growing so fast and furiously. Dwayne can remember those days probably better than anybody on the call. But it was not a model that was built to last. And I was, as their consultant, my advice to Jay was, this thing is going to crash. And he said, you're probably right. And, personally, I believe you, but we're so busy counting money, trying to hold on to this tiger by the tail. Why don't you come on board and figure out, if it does happen, figure out what we're going to do next. And so I joined the company 29 years ago this week. I've actually been working with the company since '87, but actually became an employee 29 years ago this week, and was working initially behind the scenes in anticipation that we were going to have to shift gears really fast at some point. And it did happen. And so that was the beginning of my Juice Plus journey. And when the business crashed, which we'll talk about in a subsequent question tonight, we had to be ready with something. And fortunately, we had a couple ideas that we presented at the San Diego conference in March of 1993. And best of all, one of those ideas was Juice Plus, and it really stuck. So that was the beginning, and I couldn't be happier with where we are today and what's happened over the last 25 years.
I love it. That's, when you were here last year, we heard some cool stories, stuff that you just don't hear every day. And I love that you're sharing this stuff with us. So thank you. And Mike, since your bandwidth is off, I'm going to go ahead and read the questions. So big question here, looking back at the first 25 years of Juice Plus, what are 3 things that stand out to you as playing a significant role in the success of this company?
Yeah, really good question. The first thing, of course, was the convincing my partners at NSA, Jay and George and Frank and the others, to move into a consumable business. There was a lot of pressure from the distributors. Jeff Roberti was leading that charge. And in the midst of our decline with essentially hard good, water filters, air filters, there was a lot of pressure to find a consumable. And for very good reason, Jay didn't want to do it. And the reason was at the time, we were totally unique in the network marketing MLM business and had been super successful up until that point. And Jay didn't want to come back with a nutritional product when Amway, Herbalife, Shaklee, Mary Kay, and everybody else was already in our industry with nutritional products. He didn't want to seem like a Me Too company. So my marching orders were, if you can find something that is totally unique, but it's not weird, like from the rainforest of Borneo, and that it actually works, he said, we'll consider it. Now, of course, he never thought that that would happen. He never thought that we would come up with a completely innovative idea that was really just very basic and fundamental to the diet and would work. So anyway, I worked hard and convinced Jay to give it a shot. So the first thing I'm proud of is not only that effort, but then, from the moment we launched it as the head of sales, being out there pushing hard to get some traction. And those first few years were, Dwayne can tell you, man, they were brutal. I mean, people were hanging on to the water filter business, which was, I tell you something interesting. Look at how big water is today. It wasn't that it was a bad product. It was a great product. But in the C2C business, consumer to consumer, or any kind of direct sales, you need a unique and cutting edge product. Why? Because the rep is talking to a consumer, and if the consumer already knows all about it, they'll go across to the hardware store or the grocery store or the internet and get it themselves. And here we are 25 years later, and Juice Plus, almost $1 billion company, and still whole food-based nutrition is just scratching the surface of its potential. It's still only 3 or 4% of the $39 billion dietary supplement industry. So we're all these years with all this success, we're still a cutting edge product with a great story to tell. And now we're moving into that phase where it's like Coca-Cola. If everybody goes into whole food based nutrition, we're still the original, the first and only. So, I mean, we really are in an incredible position. I'll talk more about that at the end of the call. The second thing that I'm really, really proud of is when the company crashed, we knew we had to change. And essentially, it wasn't our plan at the time, but the model was so hot. The opening order was $5,000 of water filters. The monthly qualifier was $5,000. It was all about money. And so the partners expressed to me, we don't ever want this to happen again. And so we knew we had to change, but we didn't know what that was going to look like. We had to take it one step at a time. And over the next 2 or 3 years, Jay as leading the discussion, myself in the middle, Elton in the middle, we piece by piece revised the marketing plan to where it is today in the midst of a tremendous resistance from the field. And then Doug Arscott, when he came in and replaced me as head of sales, he put the finishing touches on it and did a phenomenal job. But I am really, really proud that what we ended up with was a model that has proved to be built to last. Here we are 25 plus years later, and the best is yet to come. And we're still growing all over the world. So, to me, that was a big, big thing. And the last thing, I guess, is managing the clinical research program and realizing that this was a differentiator for us. Everybody else in the industry who were just basically working on hype and testimonials, we knew we had the goods and that it was worth it to go into the lab and let science tell us exactly what was going on. And every time we discovered something, we'd go for a new project and discover more. And we're still discovering. We have more research underway today than any time in the history of Juice Plus. And I can tell you some of it is just mind-boggling. It's as cutting edge as what we saw last year in Australia with the chronic inflammation and the nutrigenetics results that showed how good food in only 8 weeks, supplementation with Juice Plus, actually turned on over 1,000 positive genes and turned off almost 700 negative genes. Just mind-boggling stuff that other people are already talking about. So, you know, those are the three things that stand out the most to me.
Wow, that's amazing. That's more than I even expected. You know, what you said stuck with me was no hype or testimonials, and that seems to be what a lot, like you said, what a lot of companies live on. So let's move on. And this is going to be my favorite question, and I'm really excited because I know we discussed this a little bit because Andy and I, you know, let's start with this. This is a really exciting time to be involved in, quote, network marketing. All right.
Yes.
So Andy and I just returned from Las Vegas. We were at the GoPro Recruiting Mastery event, Eric Worre's event, which I know everybody knows. And, you know, one of the stats that he said that there are about 30 million people in the United States alone that are involved in network marketing. Now, we all know that a percentage of that, a lot of that percentage, they're not really working, but 30 million people. So he also said there are thousands more joining every week. This is, and I've been telling people, this is the business of the future, right? If you get into this now, this is the business of the future. Do you feel like this industry is getting too overpopulated?
Well, yeah, this is a spoiler alert. And fortunately, we did get to discuss this, and I'm not blindsiding you with this, Craig, because I'm not a big Eric Worre fan. I do believe that he has a lot of good things to teach in terms of techniques to people who want to succeed in direct selling, people who want to control their own destiny, own their own business. But I honestly believe the more we can differentiate our business from MLM or network marketing, the better. And the reason is that those terms conjure up among the vast majority of American consumers negative ideas, because everybody knows somebody who's been abused by, quote, one of those things. And so we've been struggling as a company for a number of years to come up with the language to describe ourselves differently. And the virtual franchise just never really, it wasn't clear enough for people to instantly understand it. And that's why I was so excited at the Tampa conference to see the introduction of C2C, consumer to consumer, whether it's through social media, whether it's face-to-face. We are consumers talking to consumers. And here's my key issues with network marketing. And I give an entire talk on this, by the way, if you ever want it. I've had some fun with it. But number one, the focus is on money and not the mission. And when the focus is on money, it's not built to last. Because Dwayne's seen it. When the money stops, everybody panics and they run off to the next great deal. Whereas if people are committed to the mission, it will carry them through the ups and downs of every natural business cycle. We're going to have some ups and downs in the future. But the mission is why people come, and the mission is why people stay. So that's number one. The other is the risk. In most network marketing companies, you have a buy-in. You have an opening order of your inventory, which you then sell to your customers. Well, it may take you a year or more to sell. So that product could be sitting in your garage, could be sitting in the back of your car, getting heated up. You know, we've solved that. There is no pipeline. We do not require our reps to buy. In fact, we don't allow our reps to buy inventory. We ship fresh from the factory. And oftentimes, in fact, well over 90% of the times, that opening order is the only purchase that rep in a network marketing company will ever make. That's how they make their money. They ship out the $500 or $1,000 or $5,000 worth of merchandise, and they're gone forever. The company's got their money, and they're not really committed to the people's success. The other is this hype versus research. We got rid of testimonials because we had research to back up the product. Now we allow you to tell your own story, but we don't have disease claims. We stick with what is our proven facts about the track record of the product. And finally, things like, honestly, I could go on and on here, but one of the killers is buying to qualify. And if any of you have ever placed a big order at the end of the month and you get a call from Elton or Randy or somebody else in distributor services and say, boy, did the family grow all of a sudden? What's up? We know what's going on. People are trying to buy to qualify, but it's unhealthy because you're stuck with that merchandise that you can't repeat that. Well, let me tell you, that is going on all over the country in these other network marketing companies. And they're buying all this stuff that they don't need to qualify for their check. And it's not a healthy business that's built to last. And so those are just 4 examples of why C2C and the virtual franchise are so much stronger and safer. And by the way, regulatory, we are squeaky clean. This is why Herbalife got in trouble on Wall Street a couple of years ago. And the FTC put a consent decree on them, and Herbalife had to agree. And I have lots of friends at Herbalife, and their products are good. They're made with good quality control, but their model, has some flaws because people can be abused. They can buy stuff that they never sell. And then they're stuck. And what happens is they do it because of the hype. They do it because of the income hype. They think, man, I'm going to get rich, so I'll take a chance and spend that money. And we all know that 99% of the time, it doesn't happen. So we present our product, our program, as, spare time, part-time, full-time. And actually, I still believe that the best recruiting program is world-class customer service, because most of the best reps we have were actually raving fans before they joined and before they decided to come on board. And they were really solid in their belief about the product. And then they caught on to the mission and they wanted to be part of it. I know it goes slower. There's no doubt about that. The business builds more slowly, but it also doesn't fall as fast when things take a turn. So that's my pitch.
That was awesome. Again, what stuck out to me was the term built to last. And somebody told me recently that most MLMs and network marketing companies they're built to make money for a few years, and then that's all they expect. So that hype is definitely there. I agree with you 100%. And the other thing that sets us apart is that we're 80% customers and 20% distributors, not the other way around, which a lot of MLMs are. So,
or
awesome.
90. And actually, it might even be higher for us. It might be 85-15. And I think your next question is going to tie into that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what do you see, John, as the key component to us as a company, to Juice Plus staying successful amidst all this competition? What sets us apart?
What sets us apart is we're not really competing with MLMs and network marketing companies. The vast majority of our reps have never been in an MLM. Whereas in the old days, Dwayne could tell you, all the recruits we were looking for were refugees from Herbalife and other companies that had their ups and downs. Today, that is not a good place to find new business because they're used to a different model and it's hard for them to change. So what we've got is a product that can help virtually everyone, from millennials to young families to people in the prime of their life to baby boomers and seniors and beyond. And it is the product and the mission that sets us apart. And we have no competition when it comes to the product and the mission. There's nobody else out there with this good a product. that performs like this, that has this features, and there is nobody that's driven like us by this mission. And so, and it's something I think, because we're all in this helping other people, and we get where we want to be by helping other people get what they want out of life and helping other people live better lives. So we actually are in an enviable position. In the words of Simon Sinek and my other buddy that, oh gosh, you probably remember this slide. Great companies survive over time. They do well by doing good. And these are people who have researched thousands of companies over the years and looked at the secrets to long-term success, doing well by doing good. And that's what we do. We help people live better lives, and that helps all of us succeed. And so I don't think we have any competition, honestly, because the product and the mission are without peer.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah. First of all, John, I just want to thank you for your candidness with answering some of these questions. I really appreciate it. I missed a couple of minutes, so I'm going to have to go back at the beginning and rewatch the beginning of this because I'm just loving the information that you're providing. The next question is, and I just lost on my phone, so I'm pulling it back up here. You are getting ready to retire after 40 years.
Sorry, I had that wrong. It's 29 years.
29 years. Okay, still huge congratulations.
Thank you.
We'd love to get a little glimpse into 25 years ago. What was your vision for this company, and where do you see that vision going in the future?
Yeah, great question. Great question. And Mike, you're coming through loud and clear.
Yes.
Well, and Woody can tell you that if you ask me a question, I'm going to give you my honest answer, for better or worse. Sometimes it gets me in a little trouble. Our vision 25, 26 years ago was, of course, we wanted to recover and make a comeback. But we wanted to make a comeback that was built to last, as we've already talked about tonight. And in order to do that, I think we all agreed that it had to be customer-based and product-based. It couldn't be money-based anymore. So that vision was, and believe me, Dwayne could tell you, that vision was really hard to change because we were one of the best money-based MLMs you ever saw. 4 years in a row in the Inc. Top 100 fastest growing companies in America before we crashed. And then we weren't. The last thing, part of my vision, was that women were eventually going to be in charge, particularly in the field, which is one of the reasons you're having this call tonight. And it's really important because when it comes to nutrition, primarily women make the decision in the family. They are more concerned about their husband's health than oftentimes the husband himself, and certainly concerned about the kids' health. They're nurturers, they're naturals, and they're also wonderful networkers, to use a term. Okay? So where does that leave the guy? So that was the vision. But also, since we were driven by men at the time, we had to answer the question with guys like Sean Myers and Dwayne and Kurt Beavers and Jeff and others, Bob Burdick, who were around. Well, where does that leave us? Well, there's always the president of the college. There's always the pastor of the church. There's always a leadership role for men to play. And also, I think in our modern world, I think men are becoming more concerned about health and healthy living, particularly as the baby boomers move through into maturity. One of the reasons that I agreed with Jeff and was pushing for nutrition 25 years ago, it didn't take a rocket scientist to see that the country's health was declining and that the cost of healthcare was skyrocketing and that the baby boomers were reaching 50 and quality of life was going to be a huge issue. And these vectors were crashing into each other. Something had to give. So it was a huge opportunity to find, in the healthcare business, to find a product that really could help people and be affordable, et cetera, and all that. So I just think that for men in this business, there is a great opportunity using logic. We have the research. We have the track record. We're almost $1 billion. We've been in business 25 years without a product liability claim. We have the goods, the track record, the reputation, and the research to go with it. And I think most men that you're talking to respond to logic. And so we have built the case. It might not have been true when we first got started. We didn't have the research, and we didn't have brochures, and we didn't have all the wonderful web-based tools that we have now that we use. But I think men to men, they react to logic and health and fitness for quality of life. And I think when it comes to millennials, I think most of them are driven as much by quality of life and trying to make a difference as they are by money. And so we offer millennials, the new generation, a fantastic opportunity to have flexibility and freedom, make a difference, chart your own course, all of the things that everyone tells us and our instinct tells us that they're looking for, we got it. So I feel good about the future of men in this business. I think it's a great opportunity. And the fact that there aren't as many of them, gives you a competitive advantage.
Absolutely. So, there's one little part of this question that I wanted to ask that didn't really get asked. When you started with this company, did you ever imagine that we would be where we are today, John? I mean, people with big vision could see this. I want to know if you had that big vision and you really saw the potential or where we could. Did you ever think we would be $1 billion company?
To be honest, no. Certainly the vision was the hope, the potential was there. But I think our initial vision was to try to get back to where we were, which was about 300 million. And I thought, boy, if we could ever do that, that would be awesome success. But we had to revise our sites a long time ago, and they're being revised even as we speak, because your last question is going to give me the opportunity to tell you why I think that the future is great and the best is yet to come. But no, I didn't think we were going to be $1 billion company, at least not here.
That would take a big vision. So, biggest question of the night, next 25 years, you are, and from what I understand, you're what, kind of half retired, is that right?
Yeah.
Do you have an exit plan, or do you not want to share that with us? I mean, do you always want to be involved with this company in an advisory role?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I don't have any direct reports, and I don't have any operational responsibility, which means I don't have to live in Memphis. And
so you can live in Carbondale and go skiing on a powder day.
That's right.
I love it.
What my future is to continue to do events like this and to do events like the Winterfest coming up, and to work on special projects behind the scenes and to be there for the senior managers. I had a talk with Sean today, the new COO. I've got a call in the morning with Randy and Meredith and Ben Tacker and Gavin Versey. Most of you may not know Gavin, about a marketing opportunity that I'm working on. So fun stuff behind the scenes, work on my own time, but I'm still, I'm still heavily invested. I'm still on the board. I'm still passionate about the Juice Plus company. And so
And
yeah,
that really comes through. I want you to know that really comes through, and we appreciate all that you've done for this company. So again, last big question, next 25 years, but whether you're there or not for next 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, what do you see as a vision for this company for the next 25 years? What's possible?
all right, well, first, let me tell you where I think we are right now. We're part of a very strong industry, 7.5% annual growth, which also does well in recessions, because when business goes down, people look at supplementation as inexpensive insurance so they don't get sick and miss work and possibly lose that job. And in fact, the industry grew 6.5% throughout the recession, and it's doing better today. Okay. Within that industry, we're in the fastest growing segment, whole food-based nutrition, growing at double the rate, 14%. So we're leading the charge in the hottest area of a strong industry. As we've talked on the phone tonight, we have a company that's built to last because we're mission-based, product-based, customer-based. We have a solid and lasting compensation plan that has now stood the test of time for 25 years. And it may have some tweaks going forward, but it's solid. And I think that, we compensate the activities that matter most. We know we got the best products in the industry that have the track record and have stood the test of time. We've got by far the best research. In fact, no one else is even in the same universe as us to support these products. We've got awesome marketing materials and sales support today that better than we've ever had. And now we've got this incredible personal growth program to help everyone who has the desire to succeed, but somehow seems to get stuck, to get out of their own way and succeed. So I think we're super well positioned. And going forward, here's what I see happen. You saw a little bit of it just in the last few days. I think that our IT, the quality and power of our IT is going to be tremendously improved. And we are going to be a leader. For example, if I'm a customer, and we're getting closer and closer to this right now, and I call the Juice Plus company, they know from the number that's in the database if I'm a customer or a rep, and they know me right away. And ultimately, my data should be coming up on that screen so the rep knows me, knows my wife or my husband's name, knows the names of the kids, knows my buying frequency. We are going to have resources at our disposal to provide world-class customer service when people call in, so they feel like we really care about them and we know who they are and we want to do what's right for them. And of course, we always have, but this technology will help us do better. I think we're going to expand dramatically internationally. I say that because in the last few years, Woody's been following this pretty closely. We had the mergers with our master distributors. This took a couple of years, and when the deal is done, that's just the beginning. After that, now you've got to merge the cultures. Now you have to bring everybody into the family with the same belief structure, and they weren't the same. This is going to take time, and we've made incredible progress on this front. So with the IT problems soon, there'll always be stuff we're working on, but the major changes from a completely different operating system, which is a little archaic, to a new one, and the mergers, and that, we're going to have these big things behind us, and we'll be positioned to go back on offense globally like we haven't been in years. We basically have put international expansion on the back burner, and think of all the places in the world, all the places in Asia, South America, and other continents where, we haven't even scratched the surface. And I think this technology is also going to improve our ability to streamline and make successful the rep journey. So I just feel like, and knowing what I know about what's going on behind the scenes and the strength of the senior management team, the young team that we have, they're committed and they are ready to roll and they're excited for this opportunity and they get it. I mean, they know that these things are coming and these things need to be accomplished. And I just feel like the future is better than ever. And there's going to be some new products too. Hopefully not too many too fast, but that's part of our future. Innovation, it's got to come. And there's a lot of ways to inspire healthy living around the world. Who thought we'd have a tower garden? So there's going to be some surprises down the road, and I think it's exciting. But it takes time for these things to develop. But they're all on the table, and they're all being worked on. And I couldn't be more excited for your future and the future of the Juice Plus company.
Well, I don't know about the rest of you guys. I'm feeling pretty good right now, but about the business that we're in and what we're doing. I love that we have a small catalog of products, and I love that we're going to keep it small and introduce things slowly. Just one little quick thing. At the beginning of this call, before everybody got on, we were talking about global expansion. We were talking about Italy. We were talking about Europe and how those markets have crashed because it was focused on money. If we learned our lessons and we can fix that in those places, and take that to other places that we haven't been yet.
Sure. It's a double-edged sword. England, before 5 or 6 years ago, had been dead for a decade. And it was so exciting to see it coming back, rocking and rolling, using the complete program with young people saying, look good, feel good, have fun, make money. And, so to some extent, it's our own fault. We kind of let it play out. It was a tiger by the tail. They expanded like 1,000% in 1 year. And, we had to deal with the aftermath. But today, at the end of the day, the UK market is 3 times what it was before it took off. So even though we had a settling period and we had issues with regulators and we had to let some people go who weren't really connected to the mission, at the end of the day, we were much stronger and bigger. And the same is true with Italy. It takes a while to completely understand what innovative reps are doing out there and to analyze, what impact is. And I can tell you one thing about the European business that has room to grow is retention of customers. All the focus was on getting new customers and just churning more and more and more new customers. And they didn't do the customer care, build the relationship with the customers, and way too many people came in right off the bat as reps when they didn't understand the product, they didn't understand the mission, and they didn't have their own story. Occasionally you're going to find somebody that can do that and handle it, but the vast majority of people need to be products of the product first and have a story and have some passion for it before they get involved. So you learn. And the beauty of now that this is one world, we can take the best of what's happening in Europe or the best of what's happening in Australia or the best of what's happening in the US and import and export that to other markets and get a blend of best practices that help us continue to go forward at a strong rate and yet remain built to last. So I'm excited that we will be able to do this. And having, you go through it a couple times. I can remember telling Jay when Jay was so excited. I said, Jay, hello, does this remind you of anything? I mean, here we are back in, 1987, 80. Oh, no, this, I said, Jay, you're a salesman. You love this stuff. And we were both right, because at the end of the day, we were bigger and stronger, although it was getting out of control. So you learn every single time you go through it, you learn. And now our young people have gone through it a couple of times now, once in the UK, and not just the sales, our credit card people, our regulatory people, all those people have been part of the cleanup, so they've all been through it. Now they've been through it in Italy, and so you see it faster. When you've seen it before, you see it faster, you react faster. But I really feel this one world is going to allow us to have best practices and continue to grow and be built to last. I just, I know you can tell, but I honestly believe we are in great shape and positioned for tremendous success going forward.
Yeah, I'm a believer. I'm a believer for sure, man. Thank you so much. It was an amazing call.
Yeah, John, I just want to cut in real quick. I just want to say thank you so much. This was absolutely incredible. And as someone who is still new to the company, 3 days ago, I actually celebrated my 2-year, or my wife and I's 2-year anniversary, joining this amazing mission. And even just a matter of days when we first joined on, we could feel that mission and what you guys have been, your goal 25 years ago to, the mission over the money. We noticed that so early on, and it's so obvious to anybody who is plugged into this company that everything you preach, you believe and we believe, and it just trickles down everybody in the company. And I've only been in this company for 2 years, but it feels like a lifetime, and it definitely feels like a family forever. So I want to thank you so much.
My pleasure. And that's why we don't want to get painted with that other brush. We are different. We're in a class by ourselves.
Absolutely.
Wow. So typically this is a 45-minute call. We've done 50. I don't know if anybody out there has a really good question for John. I think we should keep it to one question. If anybody has an amazing question they want to ask, go ahead and unmute yourself and ask that question now.
By the way, those were very good questions tonight. They really were.
Attaboy, Craig.
Hey, John, I'll just throw something out here real quick. I appreciate you being on as well. But I look back on our journey together, and one thing that I truly appreciate is the leadership that not only you have provided, but so many of the other, figureheads that have been part of this journey. And that to me was my biggest attraction, the leadership on this call. That's why I'm still here 27 years later. And, I'm more than drinking the Kool-Aid. I mean, I took my first Juice Plus with a rum and Coke. So, we knew nothing going in, but we've come a long way together. So thank you again.
Oh, my pleasure. And I'll tell you what, even though we were different before, that was not the plan of the company and its leadership. That thing just got out of control.
Yeah.
And I came on board because of Jay and his vision, and which is the vision statement. That's from his heart.
Sure.
Of wanting to, to build a stable and lasting company that helps as many people as possible realize their dreams. And so that's always been there. And so that's what we went back to when it came time to rebuild, that, let's stay focused on this, and this time around, let's make some improvements so certain things don't happen again. Because
exactly.
Even though we were different, it was always there with Jay. And that's why most of us have joined Jay. Most of us came to work for the company because you could see it in his heart from day one.
Indeed.
Awesome.
Good stuff.
Hey,
Thanks,
Craig,
Mike.
if I can just jump in for one.
Please do,
second.
Woody. Please do.
John, we had some emails today, and as you know, Gretchen and I have just done 4 events in 3 days from New York to Philadelphia. But even though you're part-time, you're always part of our conversation. So you're a living hero for us and for untold people that haven't never even heard about the product. You're a legend in your own time. So that's my first point. The second point is that because of your background, and you guys touched on it a little bit tonight, you have helped with all the growth, all the ups and downs that are inevitable in the business process. You've helped build a stable company. And I recognize from the rep standpoint, it's not just about money, but with your guidance and so on, if the company wasn't solid, didn't have a proper balance sheet, none of us would be able to have the growth opportunities that we have today and that we're going to have for the next 25 years that you talked about. So thank you for your efforts on that part.
But my pleasure, Woody. And it's a big team, and there were a lot of people that have contributed, including Charlie and Danny and lots and lots of others. And it was just a matter of, Jay, he's got a good eye for talent, and he put some people around him. He put team around him that could execute the mission along with him. And each one brought a few new skills to the table, but fundamentally we were all of one mind in terms of the type and the character of the company that we wanted to have, and that came from Jay.
Right.
And he's taught me a lot, let me tell you.
Well, thank you so much. You're a great guy.
Thanks, Woody.
And that statement right there, and that statement right there is the sign of a good leader, John. People are complimenting in you, and you're giving the credit to all the people that did the work. So that is a servant-minded leader right there, and that is admirable. And what I talk about all the time with people is I say, I truly did not believe that companies like this existed. We hear about the Googles and the big companies that take care of their employees and do it right. And Juice Plus is one of those companies that most people don't even know about, and we're doing it right. So thank you so much.
Our pleasure. It's one of the reasons we're not public. So we are free to make these decisions and long-term decisions without the pressure of quarterly earnings and annual reports that decisions that are best for the company in the long run that fit the vision. And it's going to stay that way.
I love it. I love it. All right, guys. Thank you so much, John.
John, thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate you, John, and we're very grateful to you.
John in person, come out to Winterfest.
Yeah, looking forward
Yes,
to being
so
there.
real quick plug, guys. March 14th to 17th, first annual Winterfest being revived. The
Steamboat
Cotton started it 10 years ago. It hasn't happened in 10 years. We did a little tickle of it last winter, but it is going to be amazing. And we're getting on tickets. Get your tickets now. Tell your teams, come out and ski. We've had 100 inches of snow already, and it's going to be an amazing event.
Hey, Kelly.
Kevin
Next-
Farrar, I'm calling you out.
Kevin Farrar, they're calling you out.
I'm calling you out. You said you were coming. You're going to figure it out.
Oh, boy.
Do it. Come ski.
John, we're real grateful for you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, Cynthia.
Thank you, John. Thank you so much.
Take care, everybody.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
Night.